Allow me to beg your indulgence for one moment. This is the artist formerly known as Damian Sandow, now known as Aaron Stevens, and you're listening to the Talk and Roll Express with Lewis, Thomas, Oliver, and Cameron, covering everything from murder mysteries to union stabs and always getting the job done straight from the enclosed pool area. You're welcome.
It's been radicalized.
Yeah, fuck, that's it. We're live, boys. We're live.
This is now the CNN and Roll Express.
I was saying this to Ollie before we went live. Like, I don't even know if we can get anything out of this, Thomas, to tell you the truth, because there's like 3 matches here. Best one far and away is Christian York versus Jerry Lynn. But like, other than that, it's the same match 3 times. I mean, it's a perfectly serviceable little episode, but I don't even think we can. There's no gold to be mined here.
I was thinking the same thing over the last week, so I watched it again this morning, thinking, right, what is there from this? But to me, it's just like this isn't. This is the way the world ends, not with a bang but a whimper. There was just something really understated and very anticlimactic about this being ECW's last ever TV show.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't really. It should have been out a lot better than it did.
Yeah, the reason I chose this is because I was expecting it to be what Guilty as Charged 2001 was. Like, I was expecting it to be the big kind of curtain call, and all the ECW original was sitting to join hands, and it'll be like the end of the theatre. All fucking hands go up and down. But no, it wasn't like that at all. There was like, did it not end on a cliffhanger as well between Anderson and Dreamer?
Ended in a cliffhanger, and it spent the last 10 minutes promoting the previous episode, which sounded better.
Uh-huh.
So I think there's some stuff we can mine for it, but it's going to. I mean, we'll go off on tangents anyway, so it's not
we're not going to discuss it.
It's fine.
The episode's just a fucking scapegoat. So, what did we all make of the election?
I was surprised to see WWE Hall of Famer Donald Trump lose clean.
I don't know. Someone says it's a dusty finish, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't say he lost clean. He seems to be taking it like a true evil heel.
I know.
The old Austin thing. I did not submit. It's fucking Mania 13.
It's great heel tactics, and you can tell he spent a lot of time with Vince McMahon.
Definitely.
I don't think there's a lot of money in a return match.
No. And it's like, do you remember, I think it was SummerSlam 91, 92? 91, with the Mountie versus Big Boss Man, and the loser spent a night in the county jail.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those. I reckon everyone's like, oh, they're going to call his debts in, they're going to send him to prison, they're going to arrest him, they're going to kill him. No, man, he'll be on the first Monday Night Raw of January when he's free.
Oh. The Royal Rumble.
Yeah. He's going to come in as a surprise Rumble entrant, and the pop he will get, it will make you feel so many things.
He's going to come in with a singlet hanging over one titty like Andre. No, I was going to expect, because had I had the kind of the meme making abilities, I was going to do the thing with Sean and Brett with Biden and Donald's face, and like the match has now ran the 1 hour time limit. It will now be contesting other sudden death rules. Like, and besides, given the age of them, you can't rule out sudden death. Like, it's probably going to take about 5 weeks for one of them to croak.
I know, this is more kind of like you've got like Biden. He's just pinned Trump, and he's got the championship. He's all happy, but then like Kamala's music kicks, and she's fucking running in the briefcase. But here's the thing I found out the other day. It's all very well taking the piss out of Joe Biden and how old he is, and he's an old guy. Harrison Ford is older than Joe Biden, and that made me feel better.
What the fuck? No, he isn't. No, he isn't.
How old's Harrison?
He's like 78, I think.
Oh, fair play, man.
He's not much older, but he is older. I think that Harrison Ford was at 40 when he done Indiana Jones.
Good God.
Yeah.
That was 81.
So what we're saying is President Harrison Ford.
I'm not ruling it out.
That's good.
You know when it is, it'd be great though, see if other people kind of walked out to Philadelphia and it's like protesting towards Trump saying, "You fucked up, you fucked up, you fucked up."
We not discussing one in your house one time, and it was like, I don't know, Road Warriors versus Acolytes or something like that, and both their shoulders were on the mat at the same time, and we talked about how it was a fucking bizarre finish. Like that radiates bigly.
Yeah, that is the 2020 US election.
Yeah.
I can't wait until the next time we watch one of these and Trump just fucking shows up in the crowd or something.
I wonder. I'm genuinely serious here, like, because he is going to go back to Monday Night Raw at one point to do like some celebrity appearance. I'm wondering how long it's going to take.
I'm telling you,
I don't think it'll take very long.
As soon as Biden is inaugurated, he's going to be on Monday Night Raw. He's going to be at the Super Showdown. He's going to be at Mania, like holding hands with Bobby Lashley again. And I'm really interested to see what kind of reaction he gets.
Here's why I don't think that will happen. Because the Feds already did it. But we all know AEW likes to look back at some of WWF's most controversial moments. You use Mike Tyson, we'll use Mike Tyson. You use Trump, Jericho, we still got his phone number. Get him on.
It's going to be Trump versus Tyson.
Right. I'm just going to say this right now because I've been playing those 2K15, 2K16, 2K40. I wish there was they have to have a 2K showcase in the next game, be very politically fitting, and have the Mania 23 storyline, the rivalry between Vince and Donald. Like, I have to see animated Donald just knocking animated Vince. I have to see it. It has to be done.
I would play that game to absolute ribbons if you could just every time have Vince versus Donald in like a hardcore match.
Yes.
You're going to have Donald coming out to the DX entrance and that as well. It's stupendous.
Hell in a Cell.
Mania 14. It's like HBK. Who's the fucking man?
No, I'm wrong about these bad backs.
At least Sean had the excuse of being a prick. Anyway, aye. Shall we talk about ECW? Is there even more to talk about? Because what I thought it was going to be...
If The Undertaker, in full gimmick mode that is, and Donald Trump made a race to the ring on the entrance ramp, who do you think would get there last?
I don't know. Trump can move quite quick when he wants to. He strikes me as someone he can like shuffle very fast.
I think it's amazing the fact that they keep going, oh, Sleepy Joe Biden, he's so old. It's not like Donald Trump's in his fucking 50s.
Yeah, there's like,
he's like 3 years younger than him.
He's really got the aura of a guy who falls asleep on the toilet as well.
There's something incredible sort of 1995 era like QVC home shopping channel about him. I know that's a weird niche thing to say, but there's something very, very tacky about it.
I think it's one of those. I think he got frozen in the era when he was most successful. So obviously he hit his run of form in the 80s. And ever since then, he's just convinced himself it's still the 80s and he's still like this 30-year-old property billionaire. And he doesn't know where he is, man. He thinks he's the president, but if you got him to like give a speech on something, he could be either like the president of the United States or he could be opening a fucking casino or something.
Well, we've sort of familiarised ourselves with a man who only sleeps like 3 hours a night. I think, speaking of another man who only sleeps 3 hours a night, I think it's safe to say lunacy is a fucking side effect of having a rigid sleep schedule like that.
Yeah.
Who thought people needed sleep?
Who do you think play Donald in the inevitable film? I think it's time for Owen Wilson to take a dramatic turn. I think he could really pull it out the bag.
It's
whoever does the voice best.
The voice is very, very difficult to do.
How do you do it in a serious, dramatic way?
Oh no, it can't be.
You can't.
Like total Coen Brothers, fucking like pastiche. Like Adam McKay's probably perfect for it. Like they're not going to make a serious film about Donald.
You can't.
No,
I would go like fucking crazy and get like Tom Hardy or something to play a young Donald Trump.
I just have Kevin James.
Well, that's a great idea. Yeah.
I really want them to cast like Ed Harris as Rudy Giuliani, purely so they can cut to the Borat scene where he's trying to pull his knob out. Allegedly.
I was looking for a ballot.
It's got to be a producer style like clusterfuck. You can't have all the president's men, but it's Trump.
Do you know what?
Brooks is still alive. We can't rule out the possibility of him producing the next film.
Like it's absolutely hilarious. So the fact that like they're calling voter fraud and they're calling this big conspiracy to get rid of him. These are the same people that believe the government had a hand in killing JFK.
Yeah.
There was also that 9/11 was an inside job, but it took them 4 years to get rid of Trump, and the best they could do was fucking fake some voting ballots.
Well, right.
But not even good.
Do you remember?
Okay. If again, very much allegedly, but if the Democrats have faked this election, I really, really respect the close finish. It's not a squash. It's a nice.
They did make him look good.
The Dems have gone for the sneaky roll-up pin.
I mean, it's possible that everybody thinks the Democrats have went and done this in this big conspiracy, but maybe it's just states like Philadelphia, states like Pennsylvania went into business for themselves.
I was hoping that this whole process was going to get dragged out long enough for somebody to do an edit of the Mania 17 My Way by Limp Bizkit promo, but superimposing Donald's and Joe's faces over Rock and Austin. I was hoping it was going to go that long.
To be honest, it's one of those, I get the idea to do it when it's 5 weeks too late.
Yeah.
Just thought about doing that for the last election over here.
Mm-hmm. Because obviously we're old enough. We've got some bearings of 2016. Because remember there was the whole thing with Democrats, at the beginning. Now let's give them some credit. There was a whole lot of Russia collusion, and Republicans, en masse were like, look at these fucking idiots, fraud, and now 5 years later, it's like, no, this election was stolen. This election was fucking no.
Go further back than that. I remember the Thanet election for over here, and UKIP were claiming that you need to use pens because people were taking the pencil and rubbing it out. But before that, they were doing the same thing about the Scottish referendum, and some guy was on Twitter saying that he went and found a bag full of yes ballots hidden behind a bin, and people were believing it. So I'm sitting there going, if people have short memories, and that's what it reminds me of the Vince McMahon booking. He'll book something, he'll say, "Oh, Vince, I don't think that makes any sense." Shut it. Kane killed his high school sweetheart, but I thought Kane was a mental institution during that time.
You only remember what's in front of your face. That's all that matters.
But it's crazy. Even if you'd think that people didn't have the ability to check shit that happened more than 2 years ago.
Yeah, he has no idea, man.
Do you remember there was actual voter fraud with the machines in 2008? You've all seen the video on YouTube with the people pushing the button for Obama, and it just goes 1 vote for McCain, 2 votes for McCain, 3 votes for McCain.
It's about 2000. If I go even further back.
Oh yeah, that was the Miami screw job.
Yeah.
Let's just discuss politics every week. This is much more fun than this. It's amazing how close the two are actually intertwined.
The talking Pole Express.
Yeah, it's how we're able to just be able to talk about and anyway, down in Pennsylvania. Yeah, Pennsylvania went to business for themselves. And when Pennsylvania makes money, everyone makes money.
The Amish world order.
I mean, it's politicking in both senses.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, right. So, how many wrestlers have actually went into politics? We know Kane. We know Jesse Ventura. The Rock keeps joking about who he's going to do a presidential run at some point down the road. Hopefully, it won't. If anything, this election has taught us it's like celebrities just need to keep as far as.
No. We need more celebrities.
No, we don't. We do not.
He's not necessarily in a position of power, like president, but mayors and stuff like that, and running for Congress. Yeah, I'm all up for that.
Oh right, yeah.
No. I want to see Ted Nugent against The Rock in 2024.
I want to see the ICP running jointly for president. The Juggalo army behind. Did you see the Juggalos all marching in support for Trump? I know Trump's sorry, Biden.
I did see that. Yeah, I think I saw little bits and pieces here and there on Twitter.
Because Byron James on the radio and threw his weight behind Trump, Biden, and other Juggalos were marching. But the Juggalo army has had a very interesting relationship with Trump fans, where when they were marching in Washington to protest against being classified a gang by the FBI, it was the same day the white nationalist rally happening, and they're like, yeah, they don't want to come towards us. I fucked them up.
I would absolutely vote for a Juggalo party.
Yeah.
I had to say The Rock coming out in support of Biden Harris. I thought he, no offense to the guy, I was almost positive he was one of these closet Republican types that just never talks about politics on social media. But fair play for him to coming out for Team Blue. Like, I was almost like, these guys, when you're not making, there's the old saying, when you make enough cheese, you become a Republican by default. But no, hats off to The Rock.
Like Jericho.
Has he made enough cheese?
Jericho, I'm not a political guy, but
I have had Donald Jr. on my podcast.
And I did throw some money towards the Republican campaign. I'm not a political guy.
All apolitical guys, all apolitical. Don't look into it too much. Don't look into me giving $3,000 to the Republican nominee too much.
I don't know if else as well to quote $3,000 is a bit kind of piffly for a guy who has financial stature.
We've all made our $3,000 charitable donations drunk,
Yeah, I need the money that goes around in US politics as well. That's like nothing. That probably gets you like a letter on a newspaper.
I congratulate you. A cameo video. Hi, Jericho. Thanks for donating.
We can't rule out the possibility of Don Jr. going into the AEW Hall of Fame.
I can see that happening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to see Don Jr. against Shane McMahon. That's what I want to see.
Yes. Definitely.
Because obviously, a Shane McMahon match is just for the bumps. He'll just do the spots. So I want to see the Crown Prince of Donald Trump just being like thrown off the fucking Titantron.
It is amazing, like some of the things Shane's done, where it's like you could rest easy under the laurels of never having to take a bump in your life because you're the Donald Trump. You go out there and he does a fucking shooting star press at 50 years old. And you're just like, what the fuck are you on about?
It's the fact that, like, Shane will then go to a business meeting and, like, away for the Fed, that is away for like wrestling, like some other business, and you go in and people want us, who's this guy? I'm going to fucking eat him for breakfast. No, this guy is a psychopath. He will jump over that table, do a flip, and throw himself through the window to prove a point.
I think it's probably worked out quite well for him.
Yeah, definitely.
That Backlash 2001 jump off the Titantron, like, that's an all-time spot. Like, I don't think anyone will ever
so good.
On that.
I just realised
something. It's the fact that he misses. Like, he lands on a little bit of paper next to him, and as well, he doesn't even fucking touch him. But what a pro! He even, like, because there's that whole thing about Vince won't do anything. Vince won't ask you to do anything that he wouldn't already do himself. I wish to Christ there's behind the scenes footage of Vince taking that bump, and I'm just getting off and completely fucking no selling it.
Well, there's him like jumping off that fucking platform.
Yeah.
There is, but it's not quite. I would much rather it had been the Backlash 2001 set.
I would too.
No, see if we're going to have like a Trump v McMahon, Trump Jr. versus Shane. Get Ivanka, I guess it's definitely take it. Does that mean we get Jared Kushner versus Triple H?
Oh,
his ass is too fat.
I
am absolutely 100% in favour of that match.
Whose ass is too fat?
No, it was a joke. It was Triple H apparently said it about CM Punk in passing, that his ass was too fat. CM Punk was tastefully thick.
CM Punk got that wagon.
What's the old joke in Pixar? Is it just one of the executives?
Dump truck ass.
Give her an absolute dump truck ass.
I'm just imagining Triple H on like edit a character, just making CM Punk's ass bigger.
Just like clicking the plus sign.
Yeah. You load of like
while he's playing the Scott Steiner fat asses promo in the background. Fat asses, you got fat asses, Mojo, fat asses.
You go round to Triple H just to play 2K20, and all the wrestlers just have dump truck asses.
It's going to be very funny when this gets published, and there's going to be like some guy in Nevada watching this going, why aren't they talking about hardcore TV?
The guy in Nevada Scott still be fucking counting votes the time this comes out.
Yeah, he probably.
Yeah, if you're in Nevada and you're listening to us, get back to fucking work.
Unless there's a lot of red votes there, then don't.
Yeah, stop the count.
Stop the count. Will somebody stop the damn match?
I was about to say, is JR on Cameo? Because I feel like paying him whatever to have him shout, "Stop the count."
Oh. My mate sent me a Bret Hart cameo from my birthday the other day.
I was going to get him, but to be fair, he's about 160 quid.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's a lot of money.
Jesus, I know as much as that. Fucking crazy bastard. We got my mate a Scott Timer one for his birthday the other week, and it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. We got him to do the math promo.
He did the 66 and 2/3 promo, did he?
Aye, we kind of like, it's not like 40 seconds long, so we managed to kind of like, so many characters, as you know, so we I managed to kind of like edit it in and we sent it, and he's called my mate like I said, "You're genetic junk, but I'm the original genetic freak," and all that. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And he's like, in gimmick, he's got the fucking the
chainmail,
the shades. It's brilliant.
That's the one thing I hated watching about OG WCW was like just normie Scott Steiner.
Yeah, I keep getting alerts for Cameo on Facebook now since I bought one, and it's hilarious. It's like Rachel Dolezal and Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen is like 250 quid a go.
I've got
some. At the start of the decade, that man was making, what was it, 2.8 million an episode?
I think so.
1.8 million an episode. Oh my god,
something ridiculous like that.
Something absolutely ridiculous. Like, can you imagine like telling somebody at the start of the decade, Charlie Sheen, who's best known from 2.5 Men, is going to be doing 40-second videos on Cameo for 250 quid a go? They would be absolutely fucking. They would be side splitting.
I've got ads for this. It's not Cameo, but it's like Cameo, and I can have stuff like Barry from EastEnders and Emil Heskey.
Bamio.
Yeah.
No, we have to get JR on Cameo now. You've mentioned that now. I can't think of anything else.
How much do you think Trump's cameo is going to be?
Oh, he's absolutely going to do it. But no, he'll set up his own, like, it'll be like Trump cameos. Like, it'll be his own website as well, where it's just videos of him. He doesn't share, as we've...
I would absolutely get a Trump cameo for this show.
No, don't say that, because that includes giving him currency, and I don't want to fucking bankroll another fucking shit job operation.
But for the laughs.
True.
I would just send him some of his best tweets to read back to me. Like, instead of him being like, "Hey, this is Hall of Famer Donald Trump and you're listening to the Talk and Roll Express," I would just have him say, "The Coca-Cola company's not happy with me. That's okay. I'll still keep drinking that garbage." Just the man cannot stop posting.
He's outdone fucking Godly in terms of daily tweets. Like she's up in the 40s. He has to be at least in the 50s, 60s.
Yeah, but some of his are fucking funny. Godly is just
Yeah. You better watch your name search and find this podcast and you can attack me.
Football account.
Yeah, try to block me. I don't even know why.
What if the Talking Roll Express was pure Scottish?
Aye, so she'll just take your video, Ollie, and dub you over in Scottish and get
great. Can't fucking wait.
I thought Frank the other day, and I was like, "Fuck, man, mate."
Frank, ring the bell. Okay, that was Scouse.
What the fuck was that?
I think
Alex, please do that again. Come on.
Frank, ring the bell.
What was that? That was Emma Thompson and Danny McPhee. What the fuck?
I cannot do Scottish, man.
No,
I can't.
It's all right, man. Don't worry about it.
If I'm feeling like if I'm hitting my marks, I can do a halfway decent Bobby the barman to take the piss out of my girlfriend, and that's my limit.
Yeah, like I really wish that. No, I mentioned that. I should have just said like guilty as charged 2001. Now we've got no jumping point. Like, we watched a prequel. We watched No Way Out instead of the Mania.
It was one of that. It's like the first match I think was really good, and then you had Bulls Mahoney. Did you?
The second match did lag a little bit. I will say.
Yeah.
The Bulls Mahoney stuff wasn't terribly great.
It's just because the first match is pretty decent, but the match kind of goes to start, then it cuts away, and then when it cuts back, we've missed a lot of action.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
really
then
weird.
it starts to get going, and Taz comes out, and you're like I don't know what's happening anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really confusing. I mean, it was interesting because I've never really committed myself to like watching ECW TV. Obviously, I know my history, but the fact that it was like some guy with a handy cam stood on the balcony, and you can see the other guy with the other camcorder on the apron. That was pretty cool. But at the same time, the fucking guy who edited this was the same guy who did fucking Bohemian Rhapsody. It was just smash cut into like another shot every 5 seconds.
The behind the scenes stuff with CW Anderson and Todd, it's like the tightest of tightest. Like, I get the face to face thing, but it's like, for fuck's sake, pull back. Like, they couldn't even be asked about a curtain up in the background to suggest production value. Like, they really did shoot the stuff in the locker rooms, didn't they?
Yeah.
I remember they used to shoot the stuff in Paul Heyman's basement.
Yeah. That was the editing suite and writer's room for all intents and purposes, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Was that Paul Heyman's mum's basement?
Yeah, because you see the scene for Beyond the Mat, and honestly, he's sitting there directing Joey Styles in an interview, and he's Maz ironing in the background. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, I remember that.
You wouldn't catch Vince doing that.
No,
and that's
but ECW TV. Allegedly. She got a more heartfelt birthday message than Shane did.
I will never forget that birthday message as long as I live.
No. Here lies Shane, happy birthday. But no, it's, I mean, like ECW TV, like I used to get, I've said this before, so apologies for if I'm repeating myself. I used to have a lot of tape to get taped off tape traders, so I used to watch a lot of ECW TV, and I started collecting it from 95, 96 through 97, 98 was okay, but for me, my first introduction to it was about 97. I hadn't seen anything like it. It was just absolutely incredible. With this run of shows, kind of towards the end in 2000, it looked like they were trying to be a bit better production-wise, but the more harder they tried, the worse it seemed to look.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the first match was probably a good match. It's just a shame we didn't really get to see it. And I just thought the whole Taz came in. I knew why Taz came out, because he's a kind of legend. He's trying to put these guys over. But I'm watching it through the 2020 vision of knowing it's the last TV show. And the ECW on its dying legs. And I'm just thinking to myself, this means nothing.
It's a desperate throw of the dice.
Yes, exactly.
Plus, I don't think Simon Diamond and the Amish guy ended up getting picked up by the Fed, did they?
I don't think that. Roadkill
was the Amish guy. In fact, was he not during the invasion?
It may
He
have been
a background character. That speaks very highly of the invasion angle, that we can't even remember anybody from the background. There was just a whole lot of extras, and that was expected to topple.
No, again, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting to see like fucking Sabu lighting Tommy Dreamer on fire.
Like, I could understand for the WCW side, like they couldn't afford to buy out the contracts from Turner. Like, there wasn't an excuse not to get like the full ECW locker room, like on the dime. At least you pay them.
Yeah.
And get them from TV exposure. God, they really should have rebooted ECW, like, and the guys have been like a Fed developmental territory, shouldn't they? Just like send all the guys to OVW.
Yeah. You know the story about that, don't you? That was the intention. They actually did try to reboot it like a proper Fed. Shane was going to run it. But then
that was why it was going to be a web series, wasn't it?
But then Vince put his finger in it, and this is on the WWE Network. They've got this wee documentary on it. And you got Shane saying it was going well till Vince got involved. I'm like, well, they're actually fucking showing this in the network, and it's basically them just burying Vince for destroying ECW.
Well, he did.
The other fact in that.
Yeah, and Vince just went, sign it off. It's a comedy, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
What was it? There's another fact, wasn't it? Like Shane tried to talk Vince into buying the UFC, but Vince didn't see any money in it and ended up passing on it.
He would be like so rich right now. Oh no, he wouldn't. He'd have fucked it up somehow. He'd have made a mess of it. He would have like made it into like the World Bodybuilding Federation, and he'd have bought like fucking the Great Khali to fight like fucking Conor McGregor or something.
Well, if there was no UFC, you wouldn't have Conor McGregor because he's too small. There'd be no division underneath the light heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Like heavyweight would be rebranded the featherweights, and you just have the heavyweights and the featherweights, and that's it. But your featherweight would be like your Ortizes, you know? It's like your Chuck Liddell's, your Randy Couture's.
Absolutely shameful. This puts us as a bit of an interesting spot as to what do we do next week, because we've sort of built up guilty as charged or the Invasion 2001. Like, we can either do, well, obviously we don't have to do one or the other. It's anyone's game.
We need
about the last Nitro.
Not a bad choice. We could do that.
So we need to do something that actually has wrestling in it.
Oh, then we can't do the last Nitro then. No, I'm kidding. Flair and Sting was like the last match of the last Nitro. For that reason alone, we could probably do the last Nitro.
Okay, I can go along with that.
Wait, was it Flair versus Sting, or was it Scott Steiner and Booker T?
I think it might be. I don't know. That's a good question. I think it might be Sting versus Flair, but that seems like the logical thing to do. So, being it's WCW, I'm not convinced that actually happened.
Can we like watch some wrestling and try and manifest Cammy?
We have got to. We've got to, lure him back with the promise of some next NXT.
Some Dean Douglas action.
Yeah, we've got to promise him like Gotch and Hackenschmidt, that black and white grainy footage from fucking '95. Cammy's just sat there going, yes.
Grab a hold.
No, we've got to do something that'll absolutely drive Cammy around the U-bend. Like, we can't do New Blood Rising because we've already done that. Does anyone know any other good Russo era pay-per-views?
We need December to Dismember.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually.
We need the hardcore elimination chamber.
And it is coming up for Christmas.
It is very fitting. We're only a month away. But we can do December to Dismember. Excellent choice. Excellent choice. Sure. And then we'll just stagger like.
I won't tell him that.
Excellent choice, this. And then after that, we can do the last Nitro, and then we can do the last ECW pay-per-view and whatever. We'll just.
And then
we'll stagger it.
There's some good Nitro you can pick because you've got the last Nitro and you've got the Nitro where Goldberg and Hogan. That's a great Nitro as well. That's a good event.
Oh yeah, that was the one where they allegedly sold out 100,000 seats or whatever it was. Like is that the Georgia Dome or is it the Atlanta Dome? Yeah. Aye, absolutely staggering.
Good old Georgia.
I know.
We should have just stuck to doing the In Your Houses in sequence. We're so terribly out of. Do you remember this was originally intended as the In Your House while we're in your house, and now we're doing everything but in your house.
But with us, we're technically not in your house at the moment. We're
not in your house, but we're in your houses, if that makes sense. Technically, we're in the house of everybody who watches us.
Strictly speaking, unless you're on the bus or something, which you shouldn't really be at the moment, I wouldn't advise it. If you're on the bus right now, I'd advise getting off and walking. I know you're meant to be listening to a wrestling podcast, but at the moment, yeah, get off the bus, go for a walk, take in the rich winter air. Have a laugh.
Yeah, that's right. Get a big hot mouthful of COVID.
How about just review all the triple layered cage matches since we're all in tier 3?
Oh! Simpson hits another home run. Thank God.
I guess you could say Simpson bagged a homer.
See, I've just got that. Mr. Burns has done it. The power plant has won it.
Talking wrestling from Stirling to Glasgow.
Can you near roll? Fuck. What's the plan? Are we going to go to 45 minutes? Are we going to go the exact same list as the episode, or can we put the go home queue in? This is going to be
it's still a good match. It's still a good match to actually talk about.
Christian York versus Cherry Lynn.
Yeah, it's a good match.
It was. It was a really good one. I really enjoyed it. It was very fast paced as well.
Cherry Lynn's great.
Oh, Cherry Lynn's fantastic as well. That's one of those guys that never really got the cue. I think he got it in Ring of Honor in 2005. I think he was actually one of the first Ring of Honor champions as well.
It really surprised me as well, because when they were doing like the preamble, it was just really, really poor. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, they had that weird segment with the kid at the beginning as well.
Yeah, just like
just sat there with a child who's staring at the camera crew.
Yeah, it's like Van Damme's not even here, and I was like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Although he did turn up at guilty as charged and had an absolute burner with Jerry, as to be expected. So we will hopefully get onto that gem one day. Mm-hmm.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I think Jerry one's actually a trainer with AEW now.
Oh.
I believe that's actually... Man needs his knuckles wrapped after I've watched several episodes of that. Have you guys watched any AEW yet?
Not recently.
I started kind of watching it, and I was kind of like promised it was this great alternative. And at first I was into it because it reminded me of Nitro. And
yeah, I really enjoyed it.
No way. But then I just kind of realised, you know, I don't think it's... Some of the in-ring matches were great. But for TV matches, which you get conditioned to TV matches versus pay-per-view matches, were quite long and quite dull for the most part.
Mm.
It's the stuff that I find the most kind of... That's the stuff that sets my teeth on edge. Like, it all seems to be shot on a Samsung phone. Very, very choppy. Just not great. But did Jericho and MJF not have a dance number or something like that? And this was
the Start Me Alive, aye. And the only thing that really bothered me about that, the fact it was the same kind of fanboys defending it, would absolutely fucking destroy Vince if he tried anything even remotely like that.
I think it's become like the smart alternative. It's not good, but it's not WWE.
Yeah. And it's a shame because, like, I don't really watch Raw SmackDown much myself, but I catch the highlights sometimes, and I'll watch the pay-per-views, and I'll show the video package. I mean, you can just watch the monthly pay-per-view and have a clue what's going on. That's a good thing about, I don't know if AEW is the same, but WWE is great for that. You can just watch it every single month, and you'll know what's happening because it just packages a story very well. The stuff with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso is absolutely incredible. I
enjoyed that. That was actually quite good.
Yeah, and you can see where it's going as well. You know, that'd be him being tribal chief, but who's the real tribal chief? It's obviously The Rock. He's going to come back. You know, it's good to
I think it's one of those. My real issue or takeaway with, I suppose, wrestling in general at the moment is I don't have the emotional connection to any wrestlers like I did back in the day. I think that's my problem. I can't buy into the product at the moment. I like Roman Reigns. I think he's a very good wrestler, and he strikes me as a good bloke as well. But nothing's made me feel the same way, in a word, than I did when Edge came back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
I want to say the problem is they don't have larger than life characters, because God knows they do have larger than life characters. You know, everyone's got a moniker, everyone's got a nickname now, everyone's got their own colour scheme, but nothing about it feels natural. Like, the commentators are going there and they're constantly hammering home the nicknames and that, like, you know, the big dog, the architect, everyone's got their own T-shirt the minute they start, but it doesn't, like Austin didn't start with Austin 316. If Austin 316 was hammered down everyone's throats,
nothing organic. There's nothing much organic. Yeah. Daniel Bryan's organic, and that's maybe the last thing they did that had real.
Yes.
I mean, that was something like you couldn't bury him because the fans just want that. It was just too popular.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other wrestlers you could just take off TV and you probably wouldn't even notice.
Yeah, I think looping back to something we discussed before, I know it always has been, but it just feels like a big marketing exercise now. They're not, I know obviously it's a good thing, but they're just selling you.
Aye.
There's no organic superstars. There's no, the cream always rises. It's just a case of they're taking some guy, being like, here he is. Here is your number one superstar. Here is, the architect, the big dog, the fiend, the fucking pervert, or whatever.
Is Lars Sullivan back on telly?
He is. He is your god. He is your idol. You will buy his T-shirt and you'll cheer for him. And then you're just like, well, no, because I don't. What's this guy's deal?
No, do you know what it's like? It's like it's the cinema. The cinema doesn't make its money from films. They don't. They're big, massive sweaty shops that show films. That's what they are, and that's what the wrestling's like just now. They're T-shirt companies that show wrestling, And maybe it's an age thing as well. Maybe it's the fact that people are younger are buying it more, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Because even a few years ago, I was more invested. I'm fucking 38, so it's not like a few years ago I was like 16. You know. That's a sore one, by the way.
I think it's the fact that you can go back and feel more of a connection to other superstars. Like back in Johnny Nitro, I didn't like Johnny Nitro back in the day, but obviously we've gone back and watched fucking Unforgiven. I was like, yeah, this guy, he's legit, man. I root for him.
Yeah.
But I'll watch, Raw or fucking Super Shag Down in Saudi Arabia or something. I'm just like, there's nothing here to win me over, and I think that's the problem. And again, that breeds into the problem of that's why they bring Goldberg back.
Yeah,
it may well, be a case of it's still too fresh to say, like, everything gets better with time. Maybe if I give it a couple of years, it'll sort of ferment, because like it's very easy to imagine somebody watching like 97 era Raw, and so but there's no real big superstars here. Brett's not drawing the way he used to. There's no Brett and Sean don't have anybody to work with and all that. But whereas now, like we talk about Raw 97 all the time, and it's like the best years ever in the history of the Fed, despite the fact it wasn't a winning year.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, it's like, speaking of organic, I suppose. I mean, it's one of the least organic things in the show is probably my favourite, and that's the Bray Wyatt's character, because it's just so well packaged and just so well. It's like watching a horror film.
Yeah.
And like, I suppose, when that character first came out in Firefly Funhouse, people were going absolutely mental against it. And they're doing Bray Wyatt again. They've done it again. What's this rubbish? And I remember watching it going, this is absolutely bonkers. But I'm interested to see where it goes. And it became one of the best things, if not the best thing they've did in the last few years. And now you've got Alexa Bliss involved in it. And it's the fact that we were saying earlier, the fact that Vince always likes to think that like wrestling fans having short-term memories. Bray Wyatt's story is always harking back to things that happened like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's very clever. You see him talking about Randy Orton. Alexa Bliss, Randy, went to congratulate for winning the belt. And like Bray Wyatt goes, Randy. And you just see the picture in the background of the house on fire. And it's just subtle. Now, most wrestling fans, unless you watch fucking Randy Orton did it 3 years ago, you would have no idea what happened there. But that's a real kind of like Easter egg for the fans that have been watching the entire time. And that's not something to be often, is reward the long-term fans.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
In the backstage skits, is it a case of the cameras and the lenses and the lighting equipment's got better, or does it just look way more overexposed now than it did then? I think that's a big thing as well for me. Like, a lot of the backstage skits almost look too sort of shiny. I much prefer a sort of a 3-point setup, soft diffused light, get it looking a little bit grey, just a little bit grey here and there.
So I was watching Indiana Jones trilogy the other day in HD, and it really highlights how cheap the sets are. The Indiana Jones trilogy.
Oh, right.
Like watching Temple of Doom, and he's talking about this big set, but you can just really see that it's a set because it's an Ultra HD now. I was watching Back to the Future, and you can see the prosthetics on that to try to make golden and stuff, and it's just technology can sometimes it can expose things unnecessarily. So I see what you're saying. You're watching like Raw now, and everything just looks Ultra HD, 4K in your face. It's got to be kind of grime aspect to it.
But it's not like it's only looked like that. Like post redacted, I don't want to say 2010 is when it looked its most egregious. Like, I don't think it's as bad now as it was then. Because then it was absolutely ridiculous. But all the same, I know what you're on about with like things getting shown. Like, I went to see The Exorcist on the big screen a couple of weeks ago, and sure enough, the scene where Reagan's getting lifted out of the bed, I was just sat there front and center, like string. Like, please, could you not airbrush that out or whatever? But yeah, it's not quite as bad as Justice League. You know how they did all the reshoots and that, and they turned the brightness and the saturation all the way up, so now you can see like all the sort of stitching effects on the costume.
Oh no,
it's not quite as egregious as that, thank God. But yeah, can't believe we've actually managed to stretch a 45-minute episode of TV out to 45 minutes. Good on us. I thought we'd be jumping for the gate here. We've no shortage of stuff to talk about.
I mean, we've not discussed that episode of ECW at any length, but
well, that's not true. You mentioned Jerry Lynn.
I'll finish my review as well by saying that C.W. Anderson should have used the Enforcer gimmick in the Fed and should have been pushed in a lot of Fed as like a SmackDown mid-tier villain.
I would also like to pitch in and say that C.W. Anderson, the CW stands for Chick Wagnet.
It's amazing as well because Arn was like one of the backstage agents as well for the longest time during the Fed. Like you would imagine he would have been lobbying pretty hard to get Junior.
Oh yeah, unless he thought he sucked.
He was a Junior only in name.
We know that wrestling is far from a family business.
Yeah, that was what I was actually going to say as well. The opening segment with the kid, I was like, what parent in their right minds would consent to a child being brought to an ECW event? Like, do you want that child to get a concussion? Like, my God.
Yeah, it's scary, man.
I was wondering if Jerry Lynn was actually swearing or if that was just like him getting bleeped over, like, what the heck? Or for fudge sake. Like, I was imagining, like, please tell me you were waxing lyrical, Jerry. Please don't tell me you were swearing in front of that little 8-year-old.
Do you remember they had the Sandman's son in part and angle?
Oh, yeah, I love Raven.
Sandman's wife took the kid and joined Raven's flock. Like you see, like Sandman like beating Raven up in the ring, and the kid walks out of the ring dressed like Raven, and that's the phone. I remember watching that, going, "This is fucking brilliant." And then when the kid was turning face, he came out dressed like the Sandman. That was just a ruse.
We need more child characters. Yeah, I'm not going to say I've got to get back to playing 2K16 and just unlocking the rest of every fucking character eventually after this. So what I will do is now we're officially pretty much going into overtime as opposed to the episode. Shall we begin our signing off? Shall we say, have we got anything left to add?
No. Oh, did Rainbow Six come, by the way?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, good. No, I sent a few times that day, and I'm just making sure it came.
So, no, absolutely, man.
So, what is it next?
December to Dismember?
I'm cool with that.
Cool.
The 2 weeks?
Yeah, I shall leave it 2 weeks. Leave it a bit of time to soak in.
Let this fester.
Just let it mould.
Nevada will still be counting the election then.
Donald will still be claiming he's the president and he won the biggest majority.
Have you ever seen? You've seen RoboCop, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Right, so this, I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil it for anything. But do you remember the end of RoboCop where Dick Jones takes the old man hostage? And RoboCop's like, I can't do anything because I can't harm anybody at OCP. So he fires him.
Dick,
that's what's going to be like. That's what's going to be like with Twitter. The minute like fucking Trump is no longer the president, Twitter's just going to go delete.
He's going to get banned as fuck. It's going to be hilarious.
He's going to end up on that. Oh shit, I can't remember the name of it now. That right wing alternate Gabble or something. It was called Gab.
Oh yeah.
He's going to do so many shit podcasts. It's going to be.
He's going to do Joe Rogan's podcast with Alex Jones, isn't he?
Oh my god. Fucking good.
That's just going to crash the internet as well. Like 20 minutes of that will provide you with enough content for you to like live the rest of your life off.
It's going to be hilarious hearing Joe Rogan like asking Donald if he's into elk meat. I'm pretty sure that guy has eaten every sort of meat available to him. That man does not look like he's had a vegetable in 74 years.
You ever in a horse meat, Donald?
I like the gorillas. Great gorilla meat. The gorillas have a great meat on them.
The gorillas are good. I don't eat horse.